Okay, so the next thing is beekeepers were asking me is about probiotics. They keep saying, "Oh, Randy, should we feed probiotics?" Um, and there's these great sales pitches if you've gone to the National Association meetings, and afterwards when I go out to the booths and I approach the vendors of the probiotics, and I look them in the eye and they just smile and they shake their heads because I already know my question is, have you got supportive data yet for your claims? So they're making the claims before they have the supportive data of the claims. And here's a tip for you guys, for beekeepers. It's really easy to make sales pitches. It's much, but if you make the effort to get supportive data from they will show it to you. They will be proud of that supportive data. So anybody who's trying to sell you anything in beekeeping, if they don't have supportive data to show you, I would take everything they say with a grain of salt. So I chose the two common ones on the market, the FM by Strong Microbials and the Pro FDM from a Man Lake, feeding them once a month from July through November. And two separate yards, one of them a sunny yard, and then one of them a shady yard, a little higher elevation. And we graded all the hives. We on a cold day or at dawn while they're still in cluster, and tip up both boxes and look from top and bottom of the frames and grade them by how much of in the frames. Each frame is filled with bees. This is my newest technician. This is my grandson, Ryder, who is Eric's my son. With school being closed down, Ryder was available to come on out there and be an incredible technician, and really enjoyed the science and was meticulous in making sure that everything was matched up with the hive numbers and the treatment and everything. We didn't miss anything. And every time we go in a hive in these trials, we record what we do as we do it. We always have a technician recording the data. And I welded together a special weighing device. I modified a hand truck so it has a lever handle and picks up a cradle, so we can just run it under the hive. And there's a $600 digital scale here that instantly tells us the weight to 1/10 of a pound. And so that helped us with the weighing of all these scattered out hives. And once a month, we would open the hives up and sprinkle on the probiotics. Now, this was totally a blinded trial. I had a visiting scientist come. I handed them some mason jars and said, could you please pour the probiotics in the jars and label them A, B, and C, the strong microbials, the Pro DFM, and powdered sugar. And then you write down in a sealed envelope what they are. And I won't open that envelope until I've already done my full write-up and analysis. So I'm still blinded as to which probiotic is which. So here's the results for one of the yards. This would be your cluster size, the colony strength. The blue columns are the starting strength, and the red columns are ending strength. And you can see there was little or no growth across the board. But what you're looking at is this is group A, this is group B, and this is group C. And if there was an advantage by feeding that probiotic, we'd see that the red bars would be much higher relative to the blue bars in one of the groups. And as you can see, there's no statistical difference, neither in the sunny yard either. So all I can say is my data does not support the claim that feeding the probiotics once a month made the colonies any stronger. Then how about weight gain? So same thing. This is your pounds, your starting pounds. Now they did all gain weight, so you can see across the board they gained weight. Some of that from feeding of sugar syrup. But again, there's no difference between the groups on the weight gain. So my data does not support the claim that there's a benefit to weight gain in the colonies from feeding the probiotics.
Interesting.
Now, that doesn't tell you how it affected the bees' guts or the gut microbiome. So I, collaborating with another researcher, I just sent him $5,000 and spent $2,500 shipping samples. And he's got to put a graduate student in charge of analyzing all the samples to see whether any of the bacterial strains established in the guts, or whether feeding the probiotic, if they don't establish in the gut, whether they affect the community structure in the gut. We already know pretty much the answer to this one. None of those strains in the probiotics are B bacteria. So we're not expecting them to establish in the gut, but they could affect the community structure, or they could help to suppress European foulbrood or eczema. So we're going to find that out with molecular biology. Then the next one was a lot of beekeepers feed these probiotics thinking, wow, if I treat my hive with the antibiotics and mess up the guts, maybe feeding the probiotics will help them to reestablish their gut microbiome. So after we did the then took the trial and divided each of those groups 3 ways. And to a third of them, we fed 3 treatments of oxytetracycline. And a third of them, we fed 3 treatments of tylosin. And the others, we fed 3 treatments of powdered sugar. And 3 treatments, when the bacteria were hit the hardest by the antibiotics, we took samples of bees from every hive. Then we waited a few days and we fed them the probiotics. And then we waited a week and took samples again, and waited 2 more weeks, took samples again. So we could see whether the feeding of the probiotics helped with the reestablishment of the gut microbiome after feeding the probiotics. And we did a lot of this, taking all these bee samples from every single hive, labeling them, packing them in dry ice, and shipping them off. A lot of expense to this part of the experiment. So this, again, will be a separate scientific paper independent of my field data.
I just wasted a bunch of money.
Well, I'll tell you, there's some large commercial beekeeper friends who have, truckloads full of, and they would say the same thing. Yeah, we have one side, a cheap deal on probiotics would probably sell you all you want.
Randy.
Yeah.
So there was one question related on the chat, and the question was, from what I understand, some commercial beekeepers are using probiotics for livestock from, I guess, Tractor Supply Company instead.
Sure.
So what are your thoughts?
Well, a few years ago, one of the researchers, a friend of mine, did a trial of the colony buildup, testing types of sugar. Also hit the hives with a ton of antibiotics altogether, and then they wanted to feed them a probiotic to see if that helped. And they had me their experimental design, and they got a dog probiotic. And I wrote back and I said, there's not a single strain in that dog probiotic that's ever been found in the honeybee. Tell you what, why don't I send you some fecal samples of my own, because you got just as many bacteria in there, and save some money. How's that for an answer?
There's another question that came up here. It says, did I miss when the gut studies are due to be complete?
No, I don't know. I just got the message from Vince that they're in the middle of them right now. Kirk is just on the other one is just getting ready to start that deep freeze there in Tucson, Arizona right now.